Okay, hello everyone. So this week actually I would like to meet you, but this Friday it's become holiday of the university, so I record this video to recap all of the content that we have learned after the midterm. So we start from the chapter 6, okay, object modeling. And in this chapter, we have learned about the uh, object-oriented analysis, right? So we learn about how to use the object concept to design the system. And here is the object component. We have the parent object that we have to store the name of the object and attributes and the method. You have to understand how to design the object, okay? And moreover, we have inherit, right? The object between the class and subclass. For example, here we have vehicle as a class, and then we have subclass as a car and minivan. And in the class, we have the common attributes, right? And a common method. But if you have some specific attributes or method, you can separate them in the subclass and store it. And here, so class, actually we have superclass that is very common attributes and also common methods. And the class and also the subclass is very specific one. Okay, this is the concept of the classes. And we also have the relationship among objects and class, right? That we have relationship and inheritance. Here is the example of inheritance concept. For example, on the left-hand side, we have the parent. They are employee, right? But the concept child inherits. They inherit some attributes from the parents, right? And they add more. Like instructor is one of the employee, but instructor inherit a lot of attributes from employee and also add more some specific attributes in them. And also the method, they can inherit everything to be their methods. And we can show you about the relationship between the object also. Here is example of the fitness center. So if you can, if you get the requirements that explain the relationship between objects and the class, so you should transform them to this kind of the picture. And also, if you have the picture like this one, you can explain as the requirement how they're related, what kind of the relation between the class or objects. And next is UML, Unified Modeling Language, right? So the first one is use case diagram. So we have the like actor, and here is the use case. So actually in some of the use case, right, you can add more detail. For example, here is the like a feature add new student. In the new student use case, you have a lot of details inside. Not only the oval, right? But we have a lot of details. And we can see the overall of the use case diagram and the actor outside the system. You need a rectangle to show the boundary of the system and use the oval as use case in the diagram to show what kind of the function, what kind of the use case used by which roles or which actor. For example, here we have a customer, mechanic, and service writer. The service writer can do writes and checks. But for customer, they can do just only request service. So we can understand roughly about the system and what kind of the uh, act or activity the actor can do with the system. And here is class diagram. Okay, so this one show like an relationship between the entity or object, right? This kind of the ER diagram, same concept, one to one, one to many, many to many, and also the other constraints. So you should remember about the number here, notation. 1 to 0 to many, for example, 1 to 0 or 1, 1 to 1, 1 to more than 1, right? So you have to understand the meaning of them. If I give you some kind of the symbol, you should explain them correctly, okay? And here is show the class diagram to show the relationship and also the details of each relationship. Don't forget the name of the relation. For example, here sales manager manage sale rep, right? Or sales manager manage sales office, for example, like this. And just one manager manage one sales office, and one sales office managed by only one sales manager, for example. And we also have the sequence diagram to show the sequence of the activity that can happen in the program. If you have class 1 and class 2, then the class 1 send message to the class 2, and then class 2 do something and then send message back to the class 1, for example. So you should understand how to transform from the requirement of the activity sequence, then you have to transform them to the sequence diagram like this. There's example of sequence diagram. And here is state transition. Oh, state transition diagram, and the other one is activity diagram. As you show here, is show like a story, the flow of the work, like a workflow. This one show the activity diagram, show the actions and event of the ATM. Okay, if you can tell the story of the sequence of the actions that can happen or event that happen in the system, that's fine. Or if you have the explanation of the action sequence or events that occur in the system, so you have to change them to the activity diagram like this. Okay, and that's all for chapter 6. Okay, you should understand about the diagram, all of them. Object oriented analysis, this kind of the OO analysis, the class, okay, and superclass, subclass, and also use case diagram. And this one is object relationship, okay. That's all for chapter 6. And next is chapter 7. Okay, we're talking about development strategies. So we're talking about what? Let's see. Traditional system versus web-based system. So you should compare the merit and demerit between both of them. Why? Recently, we use web-based system more than the like on-premise or just like a native program that you have to install the program in the client. What is happened? Which one is better? When and why? Okay. So at first they explain about the traditional development considerations. This is kind of the challenge or limitation of the system, right? And they're talking about the scalability. The applications require substantial desktop computing power. Okay. But if you change to web-based, what is happened? Why they can solve the approach, the web-based approach can solve this kind of the problem. You should explain the reason, okay? And about the security also. Then we talking about the web-based development consideration and the merit of them and also the limitation of them, right? And the keywords of the trend, Web 2, cloud computing, that you already know about that, and mobile device, developing app for mobile device. And the keyword, total cost ownership. You should understand what kind of the meaning of this word, right? We have a lot of costs that you have to pay when you want to own the software, like infrastructure, electricity, maintenance, and everything behind the scene, right? And also when you make the decision, develop it or buy it, when, why, you have to discuss about the reason. If I give you the choice, so you should analyze a lot of things, like the situation of your organization, the workforce and knowledge and skills, and also the budget and competition, everything. And then you make the decision why you select the software package, for example, or you want to develop, why you want to develop by yourself. You need to explain the reason. Okay, and here is important terms or keywords like software package, software vendor, what are they? Horizontal application, value added reseller. Okay, please understand the concept of each word. Okay, and then in-house, software in-house, what does this mean? And uh, purchase software package, what does this mean? Why it's good? What are the merits of them? Lower cost, for example, require less time to implement, for example. Just understand the concept of the purchasing software package, and also customizing software package, okay, creating user application. And here we're talking about in-house software development options, and they show a lot of details of in-house, right? Of in-house development. In-house development. After in-house, we're talking about outsource. So if you try to develop in-house, what kind of the resource you need, what is the merit and demerit, right? Then if you use outsource, what is the merit and demerit? You have to compare between them. And outsourcing fee, outsource issues, what we have to concern. Oversee outsourcing, what is happened, reviewing outsourcing firm history that you should do before you hire them, right? And how about the offshoring? Software as a service is good or not good? System analysis role, what we have to do as the SA. And then analyzing cost and benefit, what we have to concern. Financial analysis, what kind of the keyword that we have to know. Payback analysis, return of investment, ROI, net present value, what are they? Cost benefit analysis checklist. Here is the concept of the analysis, what we have to concern. So just read about them and understand the step of them. And here the software acquisition process. Okay, we have a lot of step, right? If I give you some step, you should kind of explain the concept of each step, why we have to do that, and what kind of some of the details of each step. Okay, like the first one, evaluate information requirement. Okay, so you need to identify key feature, specify hardware or software, the first step, right? Prepare request for proposal and quotation. After you get information, the next step, you have to identify the potential vendor or outsourcing option, what kind of option you're going to use, right? And then evaluate the alternatives. After you have some choice, you have to analyze them. Which one is better for you? And also perform cost benefit analysis. Uh, TCO, as we know in previous slide, right? Total cost ownership. and compare them, and then study the conditions of use that come along with software license. You have to analyze this for each choice, and then you compare them, and then prepare recommendation. Because you don't have to judge by yourself, you have to present to the management, right? And give them information. After that, they will make a decision. Okay, and then complete system analysis task. Okay, we have to do the documents. What kind of details in the documents? Here, the list of them, and present to the management, right? Give them information, them the document, and you already analyze everything, and you have many choice, and you show the merit and demerit, and you also have the cost analysis, right? After that, you make a document and then present to the management, and then they just make a decision, and then you follow the decision. That's all. Okay, so that is the chapter number 7. Chapter number 7. To understand the traditional system, merit and the demerit, and also the web-based system, internet-based system, and also what kind of the keywords that you have, and what kind of the trend that you're going to do in-house, what we have to prepare. If you offshoring or outsourcing, what is the merit and demerit, and then you analyze the cost of each choice, and then you make a report and then present. This is the concept of the chapter number 7. Then the chapter number 8. Okay, user interface design. So in this chapter, actually, we review about the human computer interaction, HCI, how to make your interface friendly, user friendly, right? Okay, and then we have 10 guidelines for user interface design. Let's see. That's the first one. We talking about user interface that describe how user interact with computer system. And what is the GUI? Okay, what is GUI? And the user-centered system, what it is. Then we're talking about the relationship between computer and people who use them to perform their job. And then we're talking about 7 habits of successful interface design. We have to understand the business at first, and then maximize the graphical effectiveness. Then think like a user. This one is very important. Think like a user. When you design, use the user aspect to design what going to happen, what is trouble for the users, right? And what else? Use models and prototype to check the effective of the design, and focus on usability. At first, usability is very important than the beautiful or impress, right? At first, usability. And here is the example of them, and invite the feedback. You have to ask yourself to try to use your design or prototype, and then get the feedback to improve them until they satisfy, right? And document everything. Don't forget that. Very boring, but you have to do it. Document everything. Here show the guidelines for user interface design. We have a lot of them, about 21 pages. So you have to just review all of them and remember some of them, okay? If I ask you to analyze some of the image, if you have some idea about the guidelines, and you can show that, oh, this interface is not good because it's very important, and how to improve them. I need your explanation, okay? What else? Enhance user productivity, provide fast file feature. This kind of the guideline. Provide flexibility, provide user with help and feedback. Okay. Undo key. There are a lot of the guidelines. Just review all of them. Okay. I have to skip of them, not show you all. And resource document form. And this phrase very important. Garbage in, garbage out. What does this mean? And the resource document form, good form layout. And here is order and placement should logical. And printed out. Question to be considered before designing printed out. Okay. So if you're going to print out why at first, why you have to print, but sometimes the user don't get used to the system, or it's quite difficult to use a small device to see a lot of information, so you have to print it out. But you have to understand why at first, and then you can decide the style of the document and the sizing of the document also. Okay, and then a lot of questions that you should ask before you decide to print it out put. And the report also, report design is you have to understand about the user who going to receive your report and print it for what, right? And of course, the report must be easy to read and well organized. Don't put everything inside, but just put on the important information and make it easy to digest. Okay. And the printout, okay, just detail of the printout. Here is an example. Okay, that's all. And the technology of the output, of course, we have the monitor, right? Internet-based information delivery, or you use the document, physical document. Depends on the requirement. And also we can use email, blog, and instant messaging and wireless device to transfer the data to the users. Okay, and there are a lot of medias that you can use. All of them are HCI, Human Communication Interface, interaction. Input, okay, what kind of the input technology and the trade-off of the technology, okay. And we have to concern about one more is about the security and control issues. When you select the technologies, right, you have to concern about the limitation of the security or the merit of the security also. And what kind of the concern about input security, like correctness, completeness, security, right? And we need policy. Don't forget the policy. And about the trends of the technologies, trend of the design, how to design, modular design, responsive design, prototyping. There are keywords that you have to know. And system prototyping, like agile, we need prototyping, right? And design throwaway prototyping, trade-off and benefit of them, and potential problems. So you please review every pages because of the benefit and challenges, right? I will ask you to discuss a lot in the examination why you use or not use them. Okay, so that's all for chapter 8. Next is chapter 9. Chapter 9, we're talking about data design. In this chapter, we going to talk about the database, right? Database design, and compare about when you work with the file system and database system. What is different? Why we should use the database? Please explain about them. And here is the advantages of the database management system when you use it properly. And the component of the DBMS user, database admin, related information systems, okay, and schema. What else? Okay, so when we design web-based design, we have to think about uh, 2 tier, 3 tiers architecture, right? Here is 3 tiers architecture that we have the client on the left hand side and the web server. Web server connect to the database server using middleware. Here is an example of the architecture of the web-based design. And about data design, we have to understand about the keyword like entity, attribute, field, records, okay? And key, primary key, candidate key, foreign key, secondary key. What are difference between them? And ER diagram. Okay, please use this kind of the symbol standard, okay? Use rectangle, diamond for relationship, rectangle for the entity, and oval for the attribute, and also about the relation. Anyway, you have to please add this kind of the number to show the relation, okay? 1 to 1, 1 to many, many to many. Please write it down. And don't forget about the rules for the ER diagram. You can connect entity directly to entity, right? We need some relation between them. And also relation cannot connect directly to the other relation. Please review the rules. And here is the other standard of the ER diagram. And here is quite important part about the normalization. Please review the concept of the normalization, first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form. How to change from first normal form to second normal form, and second normal form to third normal form. If I give you some relation that database relation, please identify them that already to second normal form or not. If not, how to change to second normal form. Okay. The third normal form and code, typing code, why we should use the code, what is the merit, and how to design the code. Okay. About the other tools, data warehouse, data mart, the concept of them. Data mining, as you know, what should we do when going to do the data mining? What is the results from the data mining? Logical, physical. And about the data coding, we have several standards that we can share the data to the other system based on the same standard or the same coding. So you should understand some of them. Like an ASCII code, Unicode that we use all the time, right? And the format of the dates is quite important. And data control, how to control that data. Well designed is an important one. Form of data protection and backup copies of database that we should do to control the data. Security, right? We can restore anytime when the original is broken or have some problem. So that's all for the chapter 9 about the database, ER diagram, normalization, and coding, right? That's all for this chapter. And then chapter 10, going to talk about the system architecture. So we talk about the keywords of the architecture checklist. Issues that influence architecture choice. We have to understand the keywords, all of them. What are they? Scalability, web integration, legacy system. If I give you some information and you should analyze them, that this one can affect the choice, why this affect, for example. And what else? Culture, corporate organization, ERP. This keyword, please review the concept of them. Okay, ERP, what it is. What is the objective of the ERP? And also initial cost and TCO. Scalability discussion. You should understand how to discuss about the scalability. And when we have to discuss about the scalability, for example, web integration, legacy system. Okay, this is some of the keyword that you have to know about the legacy system. What does this mean? Actually, it's just the existing system that we still use, but it's quite an old one. Okay, and the processing option, security issue, and corporate portals. Okay. After that, we have topic about the evolution of system architecture from the functions of business information system. Okay, and why planning system design. They explain about the evolution of them and mainframe architecture. Okay, in previous we use the mainframe architecture, and then we use the we have the impact of personal computer. Personal computer becomes faster, more storage and cheaper. Right? It affect the architecture design, and then the network also high speed. Speed is faster in the previous, so we can change the architecture. But why? We should try to discuss about that. Okay, so this is the architecture of the system. And client server architecture. Here is the explanation about this kind of the architecture. Client role, what the client have to do in a client server architecture. How about the fat or thin client? And two tiers, T tiers design or N tier design. What are they? Here is just the diagram of the two tiers or three tiers architecture. And what is the middleware? If you have the server and connect to the database, they have to connect via the middleware, right? And also cost benefit issue that you have to concern when we select the client server architecture, and the performance issue. You have to try to discuss about them. Internet-based architecture. Okay, this show the impact from the internet when the internet is faster and people are living with the internet all the time. And what is cloud computing? How this one is changed the architecture design, and what is the merit of them and demerit also. Web 2, this keyword in the previous we have concern we have talking about that already, but here is more detail about the Web 2. And also about the development solution. Here is talking about the in-house solution, right? What is the benefit of them? Just more in detail, and about the package solution, service provider that we have the concern, and online processing. With the batch processing, you have to compare about the online processing and batch processing, the difference between them, and also merit and demerit of them, advantage and disadvantages. Okay. And what is the open system interconnection, OSI? Okay, so now we're talking about the model of the network models. Okay, 7 layers, physical layers. We have physical layer, logical layer, that concepts. But I think you already know about that. And the architecture, network topology, hierarchy, network, what it is, bus network, ring, star, mesh. What are they? If you have to select the architecture of the network, which one you prefer and why? Okay, there are the pictures of them. And next is about the network device for LAN and WAN. What is the router is, right? Router and proxy server, what are they? What is the duty of them? And the standard, about the standard, IBAN 802.11, what it is, what is, actually this standard is for the wireless LAN, wireless network, right? Here is the standard that you should know when you see it, 802.11. Actually, we have the other character like A, N, G, but that's too much details. You just understand this one, that's enough. Okay, and what else? Trends. Okay, trends. Wi-Fi Alliance, Bluetooth, and you have to understand the limitation of the Bluetooth and also the merit of them. And next, system design completion. Okay, so when you start to design something, you have to understand the process of them, right? And here is show that the system architecture marks end of the system design phase of SDLC. Here is the design completion, the last step, right? Final activities in system design phase. What you should do: prepare system design, specification, obtaining user approve. If they not approve, they not give us the support, right? And deliver everything to the management and document them and present. And also section in system design specification. Here's the detail of the design specification. And when we need the user approval, what should we do? And about the presentation, what kind of the information, the step of them, the step of the present, what we have to present to the management. So that's all for the chapter number 10. And here is the last chapter that we discussed last week, managing system implementation. So in this chapter, we're talking about the quality assurance, right? Poor quality can result from what? Competitive business environment. And there are a lot of keywords like software engineering, what it is, right? And software engineering institute at Carnegie Mellon University. Okay, this one is just explain about the standard of the process to develop software. Here's the details of the CMM, 5 maturity levels. Okay, and we have a lot of standard for the quality of the software development. And next, we're talking about the application development and development option. What is the option of development? Structure analysis, OO analysis, agile method, right? And how to review the system design. There are a lot of tasks that involve creating the system design. Right? What are they? What kind of diagram we can use? And next is the application development and the option. Sorry. Application development option, review system design, and here is the task of the application development. What we have to do? First, we have to plan, and then we develop, and then we test. Very simple of SDLC, right? So here is the overall of the steps of the application development. And how about the agile? What should we do? And the tools of the system development, we have ER diagram, flowchart, pseudocode, and also decision table, decision tree. So details of them. This is an example of the requirements or policy, and then we transform it to the pseudocode, right? So if it give you some of conditions on the top, so you have to change them to the pseudocode, like in the bottom box, right? You have to train how to do that. And here is the decision tree. This one also transform from the policies on the top here. You can change to pseudocode or also make it as a graphic to be the decision tree like this. It's quite easy to understand from the people who not used to the code, right? This is a graphic, is quite simple, and you can see overall the complexity of the policies. And structure development, okay, you can use partitioning, and you can use the structure chart, but you have to understand what it is at first. And what else? Data couple, control couple, and what a condition, and loops. It's just like just design, right? Here is an example of the structure design. Okay, just rebuild them. And drawing a structure chart. Okay, review data flow diagram. Oh, okay, data flow, just review a little. And identify program modules and relationship and add couple loops and condition for them. Okay, and the characteristic of the, we have structure. Here the topic is OO, oriented, object-oriented development. We're talking about the details of the OO development, right? And here is just review the concept of the OO using the class and subclass, and we have the relation between class and what we have to do when we implement OO design, and then the OO cohesion and coupling, what we have to do, and highly iterative process. Here is OO development, but after that we're talking about the agile development. The concept of the agile development is highly iterative process. We have a lot of sprints, the short term of the development, just develop a small part and then you test and prototyping and test, right? This is rapid development iterations. And we need extreme programming, use pair programming to support each other, right? And you have to test all the time, test-driven development. And this kind of the technique that you can use in the agile and user story. Okay, iteration and release. You have to develop and you test and approve, and then you release, and then you develop the next one. This is kind of the cycle of development. And the coding, turning program logic or into specific instruction. After you get approved from the management, right? You actually at that phase, they already choose what kind of the architecture they going to develop, and we going to develop, and then we select the code language. But you have to give them information about the future or the trend, what is going to happen in the future, as you are the system analysis, right? And here you have to set up the environment for development. And also we have a lot of coding program recently, but you have to know about the development team skills and knowledge also, and you have to think about the maintenance in the future also. Anyway, just select the proper one. And testing, okay, all of the code have to be tested, and you have to design how to use to test it. Like the first one, maybe you can use like a unit test some part of them, right? And we have to integrate the unit together. So we have the integration test, and then we uh, integrate several of the units together. Then it become the system test. We have to design this kind of the test to test the whole process when we develop small unit, right? And then we integrate them together. We have to test them when we integrate some part. And the last one, the whole of the system, for sure, for sure. And we need the skills to understand the business requirement and the business process, and also understand about the input of the system and what kind of the logic inside. And also we have to understand an expected result, what kind of the result that we need, and then we just test. If you don't know anything, you cannot do that, right? And we have to compare based on the requirement also. And here is documentation. After you develop everything and test them, you have to document. Document everything. Then first, start from uh, the overall about the information system that you have developed to help users to understand the system, managers, and IT staff who have to use the system, understand them, and program document, and also system document. What are different between them? Okay, operation document, user document, and align document. Okay, and then about the installation, what is the process? What do you have to concern? Just review all of them. Okay. What else? 19. Oh, here is quite a good picture. What are they? Direct overcut. If you have the legacy system, how to transform to the new one. You can use the direct overcut, but you have to concern about the risk and the cost. If you have a lot of money, of course you can use the parallel operation. If you not, just select the other one. You have to discuss why when you choose the phase operation or parallel operation or the other choice. Okay. There are a lot of steps of the installation. What in each step, what is the concerns? What we have to be careful about that. Hmm. What else? Maybe that's all for the chapter 11. So in this chapter, we talking about the implementation, developing, and also installation, coding and installation. That's overall for our course of the system analysis. So please review. There are a lot of keywords, concepts, right? And also about the process. And each process we have concern. But and also when we have several choice, you have to discuss in your head why and when. We have to select which choice based on why or what kind of the benefit for this choice. Okay, just review overall. Okay, good luck. Bye bye.